are live with Ron Zastocki. Known Ron a long time. I did the intro a few minutes ago, so you guys are aware. Ron and I go back a long way from the OCR world. A lot of pain and shared misery there. A lot of fun times too. Thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for
no problem.
it's been a few weeks in the making to get you on, but you're one of my closest and oldest friends that I have. So it's good that I have you on, and I look forward to the conversation, man, about all things OCR and fitness and just whatever the hell comes up, man, because I really don't care. We talk about anything.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, quick question. I mean, you've been doing OCR for a long time. When did you do your first race?
Oh my God, I think Spartan started in 10 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
New York, over at, what was that? The airport.
Was it the Brooklyn race? Or?
Yeah.
It's like the first race. What year? Do you remember what year that was? That was like 2009 maybe, right?
Yeah, 2009. It comes up on my time hop every so often. I always forget to remember what year it was though.
Yeah.
It's got to be like 9-10 years ago though.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, so you've been doing it, pretty much consistently since then. Because I remember when I started, you had already been doing it for a year or two, maybe even 3. I don't know. I think because I did my first one in 2011.
Okay, so yeah, I think it had to be probably. I think it was either 9 or 10 because I started off as a Tough Mudder. It was my first race ever.
Okay. All right.
And then right after that, Spartan kind of opened up, and then we went over to Brooklyn to run that race, and it was tiny. There was really nothing much to
Nobody
that race.
there, right? Yeah,
no, it was nothing much. The medals were small. It was like just bigger than $50.
Little nickel here.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like just a black ribbon. I mean, it was nothing crazy about it. But I mean, the race in general was tiny. Like our barbed wire was literally like a gardening bed that they just mapped out and threw some barbed wire. When we just crawled through it, you could fit like 5 people to go in at one time.
Big difference compared to what it is now, right? Because I mean, now you get 10,000 people in a weekend, maybe more. I don't know. I mean, that's this year I kind of took a little bit of time off. I haven't been running that much. Last year I only did a few races, and there were a few years I was pretty prolific there. I think in 2015 I did like 20 races or something like that. But I know you're racing almost every weekend. I mean, what's your schedule look like now?
This month is a little light. I have Citizens Bank Park on the 21st. After that, I'm pretty much waiting up until November.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So that's a long wait, but you've been running a lot all summer because you and I have been back and forth, and I've seen you on Facebook or I don't know if it's Facebook, but I know you've been out there pretty active running around, and you've done quite a few races and doing pretty good this year.
Yeah. Actually, this is probably honestly one of my best years yet. I have like 8 podiums this year as far as age is concerned.
Man.
I took first in Tuxedo. I have a couple of second place finishes. I took second back to back this weekend at West Point, New York.
That's awesome.
I took 3 bonus.
So 2 days back to back.
Yep.
And for those of you, I mean, we're talking about Spartan Race. I just want to make sure people understand too what OCR is. It's obstacle course racing. It became huge over the last decade. I mean, it takes a lot to put your body through that.
Yeah.
Especially 2 days in a row. I mean, I've done a lot of those where you've done Saturday, Sunday. I mean, even multiple laps just to train for other races. You go out, you run your elite heat. That was one thing we used to always do is like you do that elite heat run or that whatever your competitive heat is. You go out and you do that run, and then you go and you turn it right around, do another race, because you're training for a long distance race. Like, so if you're doing a sprint or even a super, you're looking to do and you're going to be doing a beast down the road or world or whatever you're training for. You want to turn that around and get right back out there and keep training. So even the events would turn into training events.
Yeah. First lap was like all out, and after that it was just kind of like the
fun runs.
Fun run, yeah. Fun run. Keep your body loose for the next day. But it does help you the next day though, because the next day, typically you do run a lot faster because your body is warmed up and ready to go.
And the course. The course a little better because I mean we were talking before this about how the races have they're different now than they were back in the day. I mean I remember the days of the gladiators. At the fire pits, which they took away. I don't know what year they stopped doing that, or why they did. I think it was because, they wanted to make it more measurable. I guess.
There's no consistency. People get a little overzealous at the finish line. And
I've been knocked across the hay bales. I mean, there were times I ran and, I don't know if somebody just didn't like me for some reason or whatever and just blasted me with those giant pugil sticks.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people get blasted, but I've also seen the runners just try to take it out on that final guy. And they're just volunteers trying to do their thing. And you got this guy with a pugil stick, and you get ready to go through, and the guy's trying to just run through him like a linebacker. Right. It's like, dude, just relax. Just the end of the race, just finish your thing and get it going.
Get across, do the fire jump, go across the line, and you're done. Yeah, and then, like I said, it's good. I guess it's on both ends. Right? You used to see that, and I'm guessing some people got hurt at times, even.
Yeah. So maybe I was a gladiator at a stadium race. It was fun.
So Ron, you like movies about gladiators?
Yeah.
So no,
it was
just an
fun
airplane reference.
Until my dad came through, and that's when I grabbed the pugil stick to be the gladiator.
So you wanted to get some revenge back on Dad for
none was taken. None. He destroyed me at that finish line. He literally grabbed the stick with me still attached to it and threw me up against the wall.
That's great.
Yeah.
So Dad wasn't taking any shit.
No.
He was like, that's it, man.
Yeah, it didn't matter that he was, 50-some, 60 years old, and he just came through like a train and just destroyed me at the finish line.
That's great.
Yeah, it's like I was like a mosquito in his line of fire. It didn't matter that I was there.
Oh man, that's great though. That you and your dad could share that moment too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because that's one of the things that I think fitness brings together in people too. Because I see it a lot, and I used to see it all the time in Spartan Race. Like you'd have somebody start, doing a Spartan Race, and they would. Through the years, we had some pretty interesting crews that we've run with, and I think there were a few favorite years I had there where we had some really. Like just a really tight group of people, and we all traveled together, and we all met up for dinner. And I still remember when Bowtie told, what the hell was that place that we were eating dinner at? And I was late, and they told me it was my birthday.
Oh, I think it was Texas.
Was it Texas? And they made me get on that stupid saddle.
Yeah, it was Texas Roadhouse. You went out there. You said it was your birthday.
Well, the whole damn place sang "Happy Birthday." It wasn't even my birthday. My birthday's in September. I think it was July. But we had a cool group. It was
fun.
But I've seen a lot of times where people have. They've come in and they start racing, and then next thing they're running and they're bringing their mom through these courses, and it's cool. I mean, it's like it's a way to bond. It gets people together and families, and you see people just grow a whole lot. I've seen people lose a ton of weight. Yeah. I've seen people come from being severely overweight to being in running condition. Throughout their OCR world.
It just sparks something inside of you, like when you finish that. Yeah. I mean, I remember back in the day, I did those sweeper waves where I would go out, after all the racers, let's say last wave was 4 o'clock, 4:30, I just start walking the course, get it ready for the next day, and try to find those last racers and bring them to the finish line. And
that's got to be rewarding when you get that person who, I think you told me a story once about. You were doing a sweeper wave, and I don't even know if do they still have sweeper waves? I haven't heard anything about that.
I'm sure someone has to do it. They can't just
leave people. There's John. He was here last year. Still walking around trying to find his way out.
I'm pretty sure they have to do some kind of sweep. Everybody's off the course.
Yeah. But that used to be Vermont was famous for that because you'd see lights on that mountain till good Lord, I don't even know what time it was because that race was brutal.
No, that one I wouldn't sweep.
That one and done.
No, I'm not running and putting myself through 13 plus miles and then have to do it all over again as I
especially
walk
on Killington. It's that mountain was
exactly.
That mountain destroyed me every year, and I kept going back to that damn thing. But it's like the thing is, I think you told me a story once about I think it was a man and wife couple that were running together, and they weren't in the best condition, but they were going through the course, and I think at the end, they both broke down in tears, and everybody was crying because they made it. It took them 12 hours or whatever the heck it took to complete the course.
I had two different ones. I had one guy that I met up with, Rodney. I remember meeting up with him, and it did take him a while. I think he started around 12 o'clock or something like that was his wave, which is hard time to start mid-July.
Middle of the day. That's
hot as anything.
That's why I always love running early.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of there before the heat.
Yeah, and when I finally caught up to him, and we got him through, and by the time he finished, there was nobody left. It was Spartan staff, myself,
Yeah.
And I think his wife, her girlfriend at the time, was just waiting at the finish line. So like when he got there, like he got a hero's welcome. Like, they threw gas on the fire. I mean, yeah, absolutely. He was the last person to make it through, but it was phenomenal, and everybody was basically in tears. When he did it, we made it through. The other time was a husband and wife. The husband was military or ex-military, so that was kind of crazy. And then the wife, he was just yelling at her to get over everything. But he did make her go through it, though. I've never seen somebody, motivate through yelling that much, but it did work.
But she pushed, right?
Oh, yeah,
she
absolutely.
pushed. And I think that's the thing. I mean, to me, that's more impressive than, you see the elites, you see the people who are trained. Like, there's a lot of people, like, we used to run every week, same group of people. And, hey, it's great when someone has a phenomenal time, hits a podium. Yeah, that's impressive. That's really awesome. But I think the most impressive stuff is when you get somebody who's just getting off the couch, right? And doing their first event, and they're out there, and it takes them forever. You know how much mental toughness that takes? It takes a lot more than us when we're running through there and doing it in a couple hours or whatever the heck, depending on the length of the race. When you get somebody who's just getting it and out there for hours on hours and hours on end, and just pushes their way through that course, to me, that's super impressive. I mean, that shows a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely takes your toll. I mean, there's many times, even like death marches up through Vermont and stuff like that, where you're just like,
don't mention that.
It's like,
why
am I doing this to myself? It's so many times, or you're just like, why? But then like, you just
I paid for this.
Yeah, exactly. And then the worst part is like a lot of times when people go out, like they're on their own.
Yeah.
Like they don't have anybody around them. Every so often you'll get like a racer that comes by and just like, hey, keep it up. Like, all right, cool, got it. And then they just
most of the time you hear on your left.
Yeah.
On your left.
Yeah, exactly. And then they move to the left because they think you want you to move to the left, and they're always in the way. But no, it does. It takes that mental, just to get through and break through and then finish. But
especially that many hours. I mean, like I said, when you're out there and you're somebody who's in very good condition and you're going through that course, let's say you're doing a sprint in 40 minutes, an hour. But then there's, people who are not in that great condition, and they're going to take 4 or 5 hours to do that race.
Yeah, depending upon venue and, terrain
mountain
and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're all on mountains, but the mountains do make a difference. I mean,
huge difference.
Tuxedo's my favorite race by far, because I think just because it's one of those races where it's not a hard mountain. It really isn't.
No,
it's a fast-paced race. It's a fast-paced race, but I always like the fact that they always demoed the new obstacles there. I don't think it's that way anymore, but that used to be the case. The hardest race, I think, for me has always been Vermont. Mount Killington, 10,000 plus feet of elevation in a race.
It's like you walk through the clouds to get to the top.
Oh yeah, and it could be hot, and then it starts getting cold, and then it gets hot again, and you go through all kinds of stuff, and then you mentioned the Death March. The Death March, that makes me twitch just thinking about that, because that's like the word. It's like I don't even know how long it is. It's like a couple miles, I think, just straight up.
It's like if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 1.5 miles.
Yeah,
straight up, or 2 miles. I might have 2 miles straight up. Because I remember. The one year the last time Norm made that course, it was just, you ran by the finish line. You're like, oh, thank God, this is almost over. But he strategically put the Death March right
at the end.
At the finish line. So you'd see it on your right. You're like, oh, I'm almost going to be over. He's like, but you have to make a left and go all the way to the top of the mountain.
Well, that was the evil part of Norm.
Yeah. and then come all the way back down again. And that was the best part. Like, it messes with you so mentally because you think it's almost over, but you still have to go another 2 miles at the top. And you can't run that. There's no way.
Oh, and I've seen people walk off the course there. I've seen people do that where they just, I forget where it was Vermont, but it was like, you get down, you see that finish line. And as I was cruising through, there was somebody arguing with, I guess, his girlfriend or somebody at one point.
Ex-girlfriend,
and she's
now.
Like, yeah, maybe. But she's like, I'm leaving. He's like, keep going. No, I'm leaving. And she just like walked off, and I don't know what the heck happened with her, but she, took off. And even, because the thing is, you get there, you see that finish line, but then you realize the Death Marks, for those of us who know that because what it is it's just a straight up march.
Straight up, yeah. There's no way.
Straight up march, but then it turns. Like, you could see a top, but no, you turn, and then it goes up again.
Yeah.
And then I don't
It's
know
a
how.
slight plateau.
Honestly, I don't know how Norm did that because it always seemed like you were going up, but you ended up at the bottom.
Yeah.
I just don't know how the hell he did
Somehow
that.
the mountain continued to grow. Like I felt like at times he made the mountain bigger.
Yeah.
Than what it was.
I'm telling you, it just kept getting, that one march, and you'd already been going up and up and up the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And then you turn around and you're like so thankful for those downhills, but then the downhills take as much toll on you.
Oh, downhill would kill the IT band after a while because you can't make those long graduated steps to where you can just like bolt down. Depending upon the grade of the mountain. Sometimes you can, but other times you're constantly on your toes and it just would destroy your legs.
Oh yeah, and in certain angles, you'd find certain angles like if you're running across the mountain, like sometimes you'd hit that where you're running across, but it's like this, and you're like, this is just not good for my knees at all. Especially us older individuals.
You see people walking down backwards to kind of like help preserve the IT band, the knees, the legs, the calves.
Oh yeah, because it does a lot. It takes its toll on you. I remember my first race was, and it always has a special place in my heart. And I haven't been there in a couple years, and I want to go. Next year, I think I'm going to do a few more races. I haven't done a whole lot this year because my focus has shifted quite a bit over the last few years in what sports I'm competing in. I just can't compete in everything. You just can't.
No,
so,
not at all.
There's just not enough time. But and have other stuff going on in your life too. So, but my first race was Blue Mountain, 2011.
Best venue ever.
Oh yeah, and it was I forget. I think it was just a sprint at that time. I don't think they did a super there.
No, it started off as a sprint. It was always a sprint, and then they swapped it out
put the
to
super there as well. Yeah. But so I did that, and I remember running, and it was funny. My sister had called me up and said, I want to do this thing called the Spartan Race. This guy, Dave, told me about, Dave Kalel. she was, she's like, this guy, Dave, told me about this, and I want to go do it. It sounds really interesting. So I'm like, okay, all right, let me think about it. And I looked it up, and I was like, all right, that sounds fun. And at that time, I was like, I was a little bit overweight. I wasn't feeling well. I think I had just quit smoking. I mean, it was a whole thing for me. I think I weighed the most I ever weighed at that point. I was like 210, and I'm like about 2 right now, but a different kind of 2.
Different kind of 2. Yeah,
different kind of 2. But I, she's like, let's go do this. You're all into this thing. I think I did my first 90 days of, what the hell was it? That guy who used to do the cardio tapes. The CDs, I can't think of them.
Like the Insanity thing?
The Insanity,
Okay,
I did 90 days of Insanity, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do another, because I got like a couple, I got another month before the race. I'm going to do another cycle of Insanity as quickly as I can and get through that, and then I'm going to be really good. I'm going to go out there and kick the crap out of this race, right? I'm all delusional, and that's when Hobie Call was a really big name at that point. I mean, he's still a big name, but he was like untouchable.
Oh yeah, he was,
at that point.
Yeah,
nobody.
There was a prize to beat him.
Yeah,
like,
they put a hit out on him. That's what I call
it. Was a bounty just to beat him,
and they would fly him in just to have him race at events. I mean, he was kind of a rock star at that point. But I remember thinking, all right, I'm going to go. So we get into the race. Now we start running. My sister and a few other people we were with, and one of the girls, like the first hill, quit, walked off. I don't even know what the hell happened. She was like, I was like, what happened to so and so? And they're like, oh, she gave up and quit. I'm like, okay. So I tore off. Right now, Nicole, my wife, wasn't racing at the time. She was just there, kind of lending moral support. So I tear up the mountain. I'm going as fast as I can. My heart's probably beating at, I'm probably verging on heart attack. And I keep remembering. So I slow down and I'm like just trying to get my pace. And I remember thinking, okay, if I just get to the top of this friggin' mountain, if I get to the top of this mountain and I can turn around the downhill, I'm going to fly.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick ass on the downhill, right? We get up to the top. We turn. We do the downhill. And I take 4 steps into the downhill, and I roll my ankle. 4 steps, man. 1, 2, 3, bang. And I limp my way back down, all the way down.
That's a long trip down.
Took me like 3 hours to get down that mountain. And then I actually have awesome – I'll post some pictures of it. I mean, I have great pictures of the ankle. And actually the moment – my wife took a picture of the moment where I actually snapped the ankle.
Oh, jeez.
Because I limped my way all the way down the hill. Now, at that time, they had the A-frame at the end of that race. I don't think they still have the A-frames there, or at least they don't soap them up anymore.
Oh, no, I remember that. That was that. Yeah. I remember they used to actually hose them down.
They used to hose down the back side of it and soap it, and then they'd have these hay bales that are hard as a freaking rock because it was cold the night before, because they sat out all night and they're like hard. So I went up to one side. I had no idea. I flipped over the other side of the thing, and I'm like, okay, the finish line's right there. And I slide down this thing, and as soon as I hit those hay bales, I hear snap. And, my ankle was like a mess after that. It was like probably 2 months before I could run right or do anything again after that. But that was my first experience with Spartan Race. And I ended up limping over the finish line and finished the race. But and then went to the doctor.
And you came back for more too.
But then, and that's what I was. What the fuck is wrong with me, right? Because I'm like, I went back. I was like, I love this. I want to do this more. So the next, I think I did another race even that year, maybe another 2 races. And then the following year, I just got really into it. And I think that's when we met. Maybe I think 2012, somewhere in there. And started running together and doing all that, because then all the other craziness started.
Oh, yeah. And that's how we bonded with everybody, because, nobody knew anybody.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. It's just you'd see the same people every single race, every weekend. You're just and then after a while, you're just like, where are you from? And there was Jersey. I'm like, wow. We're all from New Jersey.
Something's wrong with people from New Jersey.
We're all from New Jersey, and we're all crazy, and that's basically, it's just like, oh, you do this too? Great. Now we're all best friends. And that's pretty much how we all hung out, and that's what we do.
Yeah. And I've seen some amazing things, with people who've made amazing improvements. I mean, we were all kind of starting in the same spot. Like, we don't know what the hell we're doing. We're just running around. There was this crazy guy named Norm making these incredible courses, and, that were just, seemed to get tougher and tougher and tougher every single year. And then we all kind of bonded on that, man, and had a great time. I mean, it's still, and it's a shame that not all of us are. I mean, there's a lot of people. I don't do it as much as I used to. I know a lot of other people don't, do it as much as they used to. You're still out there running like every damn weekend, you maniac.
Yeah, I can't help it. I'm addicted to it.
It's good. It keeps you healthy.
Yeah, it is. It's just an outlet for something to do.
It's sanity, man. It keeps you sane, keeps you healthy, keeps you moving. I mean. Yeah. I think, you want to avoid that sedentary lifestyle that people get into. I mean, I know people, man, that their weekend is they spend it watching Netflix on the damn TV.
No, it's, plus it's a way to see the world. I mean, I never thought that I would travel this much and basically base my life around, what race is coming up.
Yeah.
So you talk to your group of friends, you're like, oh, where are we going this weekend? I'm like, oh, we're going to South Carolina. For what? Like, oh, we're going to race.
Yeah.
People are like, you're going down there for a weekend? I'm like, yeah.
That reminds me. Remember the time you guys drove and beat me when I was flying there?
Yeah, I remember that. That was fantastic.
I was like, so that was
your 12-hour flight pattern.
Oh man, that was a brutal airline. I mean, they shut the door on us a little bit early, man, and just wouldn't open the door, and we were like, we had to wait for a plane. Then it got delayed. Then another one got delayed, and then. Next thing you know, we're like not even gone yet, and you guys are already in South Carolina, and you took a bus, I think, right?
Yeah.
You rented an RV.
We had somebody's RV that we gathered together and put a bunch of people inside there.
And Nicole and I thought we were being slick by flying down, and we're going like, all right, we'll catch you guys down there. We're gonna fly.
Yeah. You know what? As much as the RV we beat you down there, I don't know. The stress level probably would have been less on the flight.
Was it that bad in there?
It's karaoke on the way down, and just
oh my god,
too many personalities. I mean, I love everybody who was on that trip, but it just got to the point where it's just like, if I'm sitting on a bus or RV next to somebody, I want to have a normal conversation like I am with you right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to,
some people would consider this not a normal conversation.
I don't want to have to scream. Let's put it that way. If I'm sitting next to you, I don't want to have to yell in your ear to grab me a bottle of water like I'm at a club.
Oh, so the music was blasting.
Oh, it was so loud. You couldn't do anything on that bus. I mean, people were having a great time, but it was just so loud on that bus.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, it was just a funny moment. I mean, we've had 200 of those funny moments where just weird stuff happened out there. And, one of my favorite pictures ever of all time is that picture you and I took at City Field.
Oh, with the homeless sign.
With that homeless sign we found on the ground that says, we'll work for food.
Yes.
I'm going to post that too because, I mean, that's one of my favorite.
I love that photo.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. A great picture. Me and you just after the race, I think it was after. And
we're going to breakfast.
I think we're going to get breakfast at the hotel. And we found that sign. I think you found it on the ground, and I think Nicole took the picture of us just kind of hanging out with the sign, and it says, "We'll work for food." And I remember when we posted that for the first time, people loved that picture, man. It was just a fun.
It came out really good. Like, I don't know.
It was just the way the lighting was, the way the photo was, the way you and I were standing there, and then we got a bunch of those, or me kicking you in the leg at the starting line at the.
Oh yeah, rock solid.
Rock solid.
Rest in peace, rock solid. What a great run.
Yeah, man, that was a good race. I don't know why I would still go to that race every year if it was still there.
Yeah, from my understanding is that the owner's father fell ill to cancer, so he kind of like went to go see the father. And then after that, he never got it back off the ground again. But I mean, that was phenomenal.
That was a fun race, man. That was just because it wasn't one of those high pressure races. There was really no prize. I mean, back then you didn't have it when all that stuff started. There were no real prizes anyway. It got that way after a while, but that race was just one of those races you go to, you run it, you have fun, you run a second lap. Then we carried that damn big tire through it. Remember that?
Yeah,
I got pictures of that.
You and Mark. Actually, I think they showed up also as of late. Well, yeah, because it's right around that time. Like it was, right into this, like June, July, August. Like that's when that was like our huge time to race. Like we were doing 4 races like every single month.
Where the hell did we even get that tire? I don't remember where that thing even came from because all of a sudden I remember us like, hey, here's a tire. Let's carry this.
So
through this damn race.
We started the race and I went back out for a second lap with you guys and I was like, let me just go back out. I grabbed my rock. I threw like a 20-pound rock on.
Yeah, you had a 20-pound because you almost drowned in that damn.
yeah, not a smart decision, but we did it. I had my 20-pound rock on. We went through the one water section. Without the tire first.
Yeah.
And then as we came back, we passed because it's Raceway Park, there's just random stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think it was left over from Tough Mudder, if I'm not mistaken.
Like one of them giant flip tires.
Yeah, I think it was left over from Tough Mudder, and we just grabbed it and we're like, let's just carry that. I'm like, can't be that heavy.
I remember us getting it. That giant obstacle they had there, that one that just goes up. Remember getting a tire over that damn?
I remember that, and just like people
were like, this thing's gonna fall on me. I'm gonna die.
Yeah, but it wasn't as dangerous as taking it through the lake.
Oh, that was bad. Yeah, that was bad. I think I was stuck in the middle of the damn thing, and the thing starts taking on water. Because, you got to remember, a tire's built like this, right?
Yeah,
so water's going inside. It's getting heavier and pushing me down.
All I remember saying is that if we can't take this thing out of the water, it's sinking to the bottom of the pond, and it's staying there.
We're not going to try to get it out.
Like, even the photographer is just like, why are you guys doing this? We don't really know. We haven't really figured it out yet.
We just grabbed it and started walking with it.
And we did it, but, I mean, really good picture. The end of that one was the one that Bob Mulholland took. It's just the tire, just over the wall, and you just see it just flipping, like
like it's just a tire coming over the wall.
Yeah, it's just floating like in the air. Like nobody knows why it's there. Like it's just a tire just flipping over the wall.
I gotta look for that. You know what? I got so many pictures, man. It's like so funny because I got so many, and every once in a while some pop up in my time hop and different things like that, and then I got so many in my photo albums that I'm like, I forget they're even there until I go back and I take a look. Every once in a while I'll get, I'll say, let me see what I got in this hard drive or whatever. And I find all these cool pictures from all those, tire flips and weird stuff like that. And that was definitely a fun. That was a day, I don't even know how long it took us to get that tire through that course. I mean, it's a 5-mile course.
Yeah, and we
picked that up like pretty early. Somewhere mile
2, yeah, something like that. Yeah. It was pretty early on the course because once we got past the main swim and
because it's basically you run that little half-mile piece, then you do the swim, you come across, do the second part of the swim.
Yep.
And then you pass it. That's kind of where it was, right? It was like another half-mile up. And
it's like it was like in and out of the water a couple times and right back around in the perimeter. And I mean, we took it through there. We took it to the mud pit.
Yeah.
That was rough because I remember stepping in the mud pit and just like I went down to like my knee. And I'm like, hurry up, grab it. Yeah, like I have my ruck on and I got this like 50, 60-pound tire like on my back, like pushing me deeper into the mud. We almost
You know what you said about the lake, right? If you got stuck there, we probably would have left you. Yeah. You'd still be there.
Well, I remember when Battle Frog was over at Raceway Park. And I was running with a couple of people for like that BFXing that they had to run as many laps as possible.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I hit this puddle. They said it was a puddle. Like I'm gonna run through the woods and like hit this puddle
straight down.
Yeah, this puddle engulfed me to where like I was running with somebody and they turned around and said, "Ron, where did Ron go? We don't know where he went." I was just fully submerged. I just fell in this thing and just up to my head. I just came out like the swamp monster.
Swamp thing, right?
Meanwhile, the guy next to me is like up to his ankle.
Yeah.
And I just fully submerged myself. You know, at 5'9", I'm like underneath the water. And just had to like come out and be like, what the hell happened to you? I'm like, I don't know what happened to me. Like, luckily I hit the bottom and came back up.
I hit a wormhole.
Yeah.
I'm going into another dimension.
Yeah, like it was just crazy in the mud that they had back there.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, that Raceway Park was. That's one of those places where the mud just kind of
notorious,
gets really weird. I mean, I remember that too with
and it's black. It's like a black.
I think it was Bone Frog.
Mud.
Bone Frog was also there too, right? Did they have a Bone Frog?
Yeah,
there?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So doing a Bone Frog, I remember that happened to me kind of. Where you're coming through, and I forget they had all different levels, and I forget which one it was. I think I was running. It wasn't like BFX or anything like that.
Oh, like
but it was,
tier 1 challenge.
Yeah, they had like a different kind of setup, but it was all of them were kind of the same but different, and they just named different. But I remember running back in that area, and then I hit this mud, and it just was like,
it sucks you in.
You're like, oh crap, And then I'm watching other people; they're going around it. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So all these people that were behind me are now passing me because I'm stuck and I can't get out.
And once you get out, you weigh an extra 15 pounds.
Oh, yeah, you're running slow for a little while. You're hoping for a swim or something so you can get this crap off of you.
Puddle, some kind of
something to get that off because, when you're stuck in that stuff, the thing you're thinking about is, oh, crap, I'm going to get out of here. My shoes are going to be gone. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I've seen people do that.
Yeah, and then you're running without shoes on in a race like that. You don't want to do that either. But there's been some cool stuff, man. It just like, and that's what I think is the best about it. When you walk into those races, you don't know what's coming. You really don't. Unless you ran it the day before. There were some. Like I said, you run. That's the advantage of having run it the day before. You know what's coming. You know how the race is, unless they dramatically changed it overnight, which has happened.
Yeah, they've changed
some of them.
They've changed a couple of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll flip something around on you or do something like that. But for the most part. But it's the unexpected, right? Especially Spartan Race. Spartan Race was notorious for that. I mean, Norm was great at kind of giving you the illusion that the race was going to be something, and then it turned into something completely different.
Oh, yeah. And with him, like, he knew how to mentally get to you, too. That was the thing. Like, he would mentally break you down, and you wouldn't even know it. Like, and, like, I remember Virginia, right? Virginia had that beautiful mountain down in Virginia. Yeah, that beautiful course.
There was one year that race was awful. It was all foggy and rainy.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like
looks like a
super
battleground. There's a great picture that Bob Mulholland took of all of, I think it was a few of us coming through the barbed wire, and it just looks like bodies. It looked like a World War II picture.
Yeah, it was rough. It was overcast that day. It was just like fog everywhere. Like they actually delayed our start because of fog.
Yeah,
that was an NBC
3
race.
feet in front of you. Yeah, it was NBC. They were shooting that day. Yeah,
and I remember we ran that race, and Norm he was like, okay, sandbag carry. And then he put a 4-foot wall in the middle of a sandbag carry. And you're like, who put the wall
Who puts a wall in a sandbag?
And he's like, don't drop the sandbags. You had to strategically take it off your back, put it on the wall, jump the wall, pick it up. Otherwise, you get a 30 penalty for
not
dropping your sandbag.
For dropping the sandbag. Yeah.
And then he also had, once again, he found a death march. And like you do this death march, you're like, oh my God, I can't go on any longer. And you go there, and what do you have? 8-foot wall. Like you get to the top of the death march to an 8-foot wall.
Yeah.
And he would do that notoriously every single race.
And he would position things so you wouldn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Which is really kind of the beauty of what he used to do in those races, I think. Because he would like set it up to where it would just be a little turn, and then there it is.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, I'm going to start. And you just feel yourself, like when you saw that death march at Vermont. It's like everything would just be like, whoa. Your whole body would just,
so defeating.
It would just defeat you. You'd see it in everybody's face when they saw it. They see what's coming next. Or when you get up to the one turn and then it's just up again. You're like,
Well, I remember doing course design with him, like in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Every year I used to send him a text or a message like, listen, I'm taking vacation this week. Because that race was like always right around my birthday. I'm like, I'm on vacation this week. I want to come help set up Vernon. So I'd go there to go help him out. And just overnight, he would change the course on me. Like I'd be there like on a Monday setting stuff up.
You think you know the race.
Yeah, and I'd basically walk the course Monday, set some things up for him, like do the thing. And then by Tuesday, now mind you, I leave like 6, 7 o'clock at night. Yeah. So like I'm already headed home. Tuesday morning, I come back like 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. He's like, oh, hey, by the way, I found a pond. I'm like, first
Where?
When did you find a pond? Like, when did you have time to? And he's like, so what do you think if I put you guys through it? And I'm like, because mind you, I'm not only designing this course with him, but I have to run it like that weekend. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's perfect. I'm like, why? Why did I just agree to that?
Yeah.
But yeah, he would just find like this random body of water. Don't know how he found it.
Yeah, he's running around out there, man. He's one of those guys that takes his job extremely seriously.
Yeah,
I mean, he would go out there and he'd be like, well, how can I torture these guys this weekend?
And that was the thing is he would find he didn't like paths. He didn't like these, stone roads that we, or just like a path that's already made. He wanted us to like beat down part of that mountain and just like blaze our own trail.
Yeah.
It's just like you go out there with some tape, hang the tape up on the trees, let them blaze it out.
Yeah.
Unless it was like high thick sticks and stuff like that, then we'd kind of like mow it down. But he wanted us to run through all that stuff.
Well, even the different terrains that he would find, these creeks. That he would just put the course down the creek.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, it's like people have to run on this wet rock, and it's like, I mean, I can't even imagine how many injuries occurred with, I've done a few where I've rolled a few times, rolled my ankles a few times. That's why my ankles are, I go to the doctor. I went to the doctor a couple of years ago for the first time because my ankles just keep rolling on me. And he's like, yeah, you've done some damage. My feet are like, he's like, you need surgery to tighten these up. I'm like, I'm not getting surgery because, that's just not going to happen. So I find other ways to increase my stability on my ankles. But, he would find these and I'm like, how the hell am I going to run on this? And we'd find a way to do it, but. It got pretty, some of them were pretty hairy, man. You hit some of them spots, where the creek, and especially, like I said, I think I keep talking about it, but Vermont, that one creek that you run down in that race somewhere, it's just like, it's all rock and it's wet and it's, sometimes in September it's not very,
It's not warm at all.
It could be, you never know what you're going to get with that race. Usually you get one good day and one terrible day. That's generally how Vermont has always been. Yeah. At least my recollection of it.
I remember the one day, it was actually like 75, 80. And I was like, this is the best day ever. And Norm was so pissed because
he's waiting for rain.
Yeah, because he sold his soul so many times on that mountain.
Yeah.
Like he'd go up there and it would literally be like 70 degrees all week up until Saturday race day. And then all of a sudden it's like 55 and raining. And he's like,
yeah,
perfect.
This is it.
He's like, this is perfect. Like, we're all miserable. And he's like, good luck, guys. And you're like, dude, just stop. Like,
well, that's when you see everybody at the start line with their jackets on and stuff and shivering. And then as soon as they're getting ready to race, everything's coming off, throwing off to the side, and you're running, But, there were some days, like I said, you'd usually get one day where it's nice, and the next day it's like, or, either Saturday or Sunday. You're going to have a good day and you're going to have a crappy day up there. And, even on the nice day, though, the thing about that mountain is you get up to the top and it's cold and windy.
Oh, yeah.
You got no shirt at this point. You're, everybody's stripped down because it's so warm at the bottom. You get to the top, you're like, oh, man, I should have left my damn shirt on. I'm freezing my ass off.
Or it's raining or it's snowing.
Yeah. Well, Ohio.
Oh, God, Ohio. Trifecta day.
The trifecta day race.
That was every season in literally one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember starting and it was nice, right? I think it was, I don't know if it wasn't snowing. I don't know what it was doing.
Before we started, it was just like cold and windy. That was actually the first race I ever ran in pants. And I'm not talking about just like leggings. Like I had
my jeans.
I had like these like trail hiking, like waterproof pants because I was just like, it was too cold. Like when we started, it was very cold. And it was cold and windy. I was like, all right, this is not going to be a fun race at all. Yeah. And then like start line came out, and then it got nicer. It became like 65. And it was like, okay, cool. Went to the water pits, did whatever. We finished the Beast course, and it started to hail. It got like windy and started to hail, and I'm like, do I really need this trifecta?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I need it right now.
Well, it was, I think for the group of us that were there, I don't know how many of us signed up for that. I mean, we were just all crazy because, to think about that, to do all levels of race in one day, it's insane. I mean, it's just one event. You're basically going to be doing a beast to a super to a sprint.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're like, It's just even the concept. I tell people what we were doing, they're like, "You're nuts."
Yes, I mean,
You're
well,
out
I
of your
mean,
mind.
if you look at it now compared to the Ultra, I mean, distance
It
wise,
is basically an
about
ultra.
It was,
but they
distance-wise.
weren't really ultras. I don't think they were even around at that point, were they? They might have had
I think
one.
probably just Vermont. I think they
I
had
think
just
Vermont,
the
they
Vermont
had the ultra distance, and at least in Spartan. I mean, ultras have always been around, but not in the Spartan world at that point. But I mean, I think maybe they were testing the waters around a little bit with how can we make it work and different. But, there were a bunch of us like, we want to get, and then some rumor was around there was some special metal that was going to be out.
Yeah, they had that. They had that last weekend actually.
Did they?
Yeah, at the West Virginia, they had like the trifecta weekend.
Okay.
And if you did all three in that weekend, they did give you a special trifecta medal.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Because that's what we thought was going to happen. I don't know who started that rumor. Might have been Blue Man. Might have been Bowtie. I don't know who else started it. Because we were all there, I think. What was Danny at that race? Danny was there.
Yeah, Danny was there.
Danny was there. Yeah, Blue Man and Bowtie, I think.
Yeah, because I actually...
So we all started off together. We all got separated, but... you guys were a little faster than me on that, at the,
Yeah, I remember we did that. Blue Man twisted his ankle literally like a quarter mile in.
Yeah, and didn't he walked off the rest of that race, right?
Yeah, he finished. He
finished the whole trifecta?
Yeah, we were calling him Gandalf the Blue because he had his giant...
he had that stick.
He had his giant walking stick with him the entire race. Because he didn't want to give it up because, once again, he thought he was getting some kind of special medal.
Yeah.
And I think...
I remember having a conversation. I was like, what the heck, dude? You rolled your ankle terribly.
Yeah.
You're going to do more damage.
It was so bad. I remember going back to the hotel room, and we actually had to cut his sock off of him. We had to cut the sock, and I think he had like a brace or something else on because he already had pre-existing bad ankle.
Yeah.
And we cut that off as well. And the thing was sort of like a softball. Like,
that's awful.
I remember on the way home, we went to a rest stop, and he was taking too long to get back. I just went and threw him over my shoulder and brought him back to the car. Because I'm like, we gotta go. Like, I don't feel like waiting. Yeah, like it's taking you 20 minutes to walk from the bathroom back to our car. I'm like, I'm not waiting this long. Just get get back in the car.
Well, that's because he spent his time doing 30 miles on a course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That
probably should have stopped after the beast.
Oh yeah, I mean it was wet. It was disgusting.
Oh, that race was terrible. I mean, it was cold. It was miserable. I mean, there were people getting pulled off that course for hypothermia.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a rough course.
I
just remember running, and I'm like, it was nice, and then I remember. Freaking hail!
Yeah,
it's hailing on us right now.
I remember
then it was snowing at one point.
Yeah, I remember being in the changing tent and I'm just shivering, like testing my finger mobility, so if I could actually touch my fingers together, if I could actually go back out there. And then all of a sudden, it just stopped. It stopped hailing. I said, "All right, I can do this." And I went back out, and it was sunny, and I finished my super lap, and I'm like, "God, I got one left to do." And then it got really cold, and I just grabbed the trash bag and cut a hole out in it, and I ran.
In the trash bag.
I ran the super in the trash bag, or the sprint in the trash
That's
bag because
great.
I needed to stay warm. That was the only way to do it.
Well, I was watching people, fall off them ropes because your hands got so cold that nobody could grip the rope anymore, and they had that rope climb that you had to keep going to. Every lap you did, had that freaking one rope climb by the finish line that you had to do. And, you just watch people get a quarter of the way up and just literally fall from about 10 feet, 15 feet up off the rope climb and blast themselves. I mean, I think one guy busted his arm up pretty good.
I wouldn't doubt it. That was actually the first race. We remember that was the first time they threw the rope onto the spear.
Was it the first race?
That was the first time because I looked at the guy. I was like, "Is this really gonna work?" And he's like, "No, it's fine." He's like,
except for when you're standing on the rope.
Oh yeah, but I just remember I'm like, "Are you sure there's enough rope for me to hit this?" He's like, "Yeah," and I threw it, and the whole rail just fell over with it. I was like, apparently it's not enough rope because it didn't even reach the spearman. I'm like, I'm not doing burpees because you didn't give me enough slack.
There's not enough rope there.
Yeah, so I went back a couple other ones and hit it later. But I was just like, no.
Yeah, they perfected that later on, I think, because when that first started, and like anything, whenever anything starts, it's kind of got some rough spots, and then you get to a point where they fix it. And the thing is, you got to just remember when you pull that rope, you got to throw it over the gate so it doesn't.
Of course.
I mean, there's a whole lot of techniques we've learned along the way to make sure that we don't.
It's better for everybody, I think. I mean, having no rope on.
Remember the spears that used to go flying?
Oh, I used to go. That's the thing. It's
they used to fucking kill somebody.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like you'd be in Vermont and they had it on the side of the mountain, and people would miss spearman, and then these spears just
flying off the mountain.
Yeah, they're flying down the mountain. I mean, it was crazy. You know, I think that's why they stopped doing like the tire flips on the side.
They
of the
definitely did, because I'll tell you what, I remember, I don't know what race it was, but I remember running and I hear tire, tire, tire. That's all I hear, right? And I just see this like big, one of the giant ones. I guess someone flipped it up, but it was on the hill.
Yeah, it just rolled
down.
And
it just went down the hill, and this thing bouncing down the mountain.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video that has that. I think they're called it like Timmy the Tire, and there's some guy had his GoPro on, and he's just walking. He's like, and you hear tire, tire, and the guy's like, what? And it just right
missed.
By his face.
It would have killed him. It could have killed him.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's probably like a 300-400 pound tire.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'll mess up your day.
That'll screw your whole day up, man. But yeah, I remember that, because I was like, I remember why I hear tire, 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 and I just see this boom, boom, boom. I'm like, oh man, that's gonna kill somebody, you know. And sometimes even the on the carries, man, people will drop the logs, and I've seen them go tumbling down the hill too. That'll mess up your day too if you get hit one.
Yeah, some of those things are just bad. Like, it's a bad choice. You don't give somebody a log to run up and down the mountain with.
Well, and put them on a steep hill like that's, you know, and you're like, okay, this thing's circular, so if I drop it, it's probably going for a ride. Because it was funny, because you know, sometimes people take their, you know, you got their younger kids and stuff. They're just going out and they're hiking the course or whatever, and you know, you hear sometimes. I remember one race I was doing a fun lap, and I hear log, like this, and so I turn around and I see the log rolling down. I'm like, okay. I turn back around and went past me. I'm like, I hear kid. And there's this kid rolling down the hill. I was like, it was great, but you know, it's just, you know, these are times though. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, those races are just so much fun. I think people get a whole lot. I know it changed a lot of my life doing a lot of those races for so long. You know, and like I said, I want to get back into it probably next year a little more than I did this year. I'm not going to get back to doing the 20 races a year or any of that stuff probably, but you know, it's just too hard on my legs. My legs don't handle it as well as they used to. You know, knees, knees and ankles, man. You know, you know, I'm 47 now, so I'm like, Jesus, I'm closer to 50 than I am to 40. It's freaking crazy. It's crazy thinking about it, but you know, it's still something I love. It's still something I want to do, and I know you love it, man. I know you're out there all the time, and you're actually better than ever. You know, which is awesome. You just keep getting better, which is cool. You know, I can't say that for a lot of people. You know, a lot of people kind of fade it out and just kind of stop doing it, like myself, or you know, just never get to that level. You know, you're at a different level at this point.
Yeah, it is crazy how it's just gotten like better and better just over the years, and obviously I wish I could continue to train more and stuff like that, but with work and hectic life and stuff, it's kind of hard to surprise where I am and have lasted as long as I have, as far as like
and fairly injury free. Knock on wood.
Yeah,
knock on
definitely. Yeah, I mean,
we've all had some scratches and scrapes, but you know, I've seen some people get really messed up.
I've taken barbed wire hits and stuff like that. I should have had stitches.
I've gotten barbed wire to the head.
Yeah.
There's a picture Bob Mulholland took of me just literally bleeding out of my head. And by the way, I'm going to post a lot of this stuff. I'm going to try to find them and post them on this. But yeah, I remember I was going through, I don't remember what race it was. They all bleed together after a while. Huh, no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I did there? So I remember cooking through. I'm running. And I hit the barbed wire. I get under there, and of course I had my glasses on as always. Gators Eyewear, just a quick shout out. So I go under here, and then the person in front of me caught the barbed wire on their clothes.
Yeah,
and it just went right into my head, dude.
Yeah, that's not good.
I was like, and I'm sitting there like, I didn't even know what to do.
Just like,
I'm like, I don't know if I should pull this out. I don't know what I should do with this. Right?
In the brain, like,
and the people that are watching the barbed wire are sitting there, and they just watched it happen, and they're both like, I look over, like, kind of at them like this, and they're like, right now this is the elite. Heat running through, so nobody's stopping, man. People are just flying by me, and I'm like,
and you can't get help either.
No, if I get help, I get disqualified. Yeah, so I'm like, shit, what the hell do I do? So of course, and now people are coming, right? So I'm like, shit. So I got to pull this thing out because I'm thinking someone's going to catch this thing again and tear my forehead off, right? So I'm like, so I pull it out and just blood just starts coming, just coming down. And I had a headband on, but it like tore through the headband, and it just like it was like
head
just
wound.
gushing, right? So so I crawl through the rest of the course, and I go over to the person who was over there, you know, because I like, all right, I'm gonna lose a few minutes here on this. I'm not just gonna keep running. I got to figure out what's going on with my head because I don't even know what happened. I said, can you show me what this looks like? So he pulls out his phone, and it's like this big bloody mess. And I go, can you give me a Band-Aid or anything? He's like, if I help you at all, you're done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit. So I just basically wrapped up my head as good as I could with my headband, what was left of it, and just kept going. And then it just kept opening up over and over again.
Oh,
yeah. So the picture Bob got is me at the bucket carry. And I think I picked up the bucket, and, you know, Bob takes this picture, and there's just blood gushing down. I looked like I was in a war, man. It was like, it was crazy. But, yeah, I mean, that's the stuff but, you know, you sign up for that. You know, I used to say a day without, or a weekend without a death waiver is like no weekend at all, right?
Yeah, I've
like,
signed so many of them at this point.
Because that's basically what you're signing when you go out. You're like, okay, if I die, you're not responsible, you know.
Pretty much.
But there, you know, like I said, it's all the fun shit that happens during those races. Even that stuff, it's still good stories, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like you can look at any venue, any given year, and like there's stories for all these things.
Oh yeah,
it's like, oh, you remember last year when we did this, or 2 years ago was this? I mean, I look at I've been at Tuxedo 10 times. Yeah, probably. You know, and
like I said, one of my favorite places because it's not a labor intensive race.
No,
but it's a fun race. Yeah, you know,
and I think we have stories from that one all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, probably my favorite is Danny falling through the fire. I mean, that was...
He missed the jump.
His ankle gave out. It was hysterical, and he just scorpioned it. Like his
he was in the fire. It was literally a log on the fire.
Yeah, he was. Like he's sliding. His foot is up over his head like a scorpion. And I just remember I'm in my truck eating, and all he just hears... I'm like, what? And I'm like, kind of like, I look over and I open up my car door, and he is just shirtless and road rash everywhere. Yeah.
Charred.
Just blood and just like charcoal all over him. I'm like, what happened? He's like, oh, I fell in the fire. I'm like, what? How do you fall in the fire?
I honestly haven't seen that happen too many times. That's a trick. You know, you usually kind of, you know, when you're coming up on that fire pit, you're a little more conscious of, you know, how you're going to put your feet and how you're going to jump.
No, his ankle just gave out. And it's funny because like when you see the progression of the fire, we'll call it a fire jump pick, but it wasn't really a jump. You actually see like Blue Man in the back, and you can just see his hands go up like, oh no.
And Danny's
just sliding through.
He's doing a bowling ball through the fire pit.
Yeah, he's trying to score the winning run at home, and it's just hysterical.
Man. And you know what? We're all alive. We're all still alive, you know, and you know, I think better for it because I think it teaches you some toughness. It teaches you how to push through obstacles. It teaches you how to, I mean, like what I did there. It teaches you how to, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think people that go out and do these things at any level, you know, from the beginning to the end, you know, it teaches you something. It's an experience that you take with you through your life. Yeah. I mean, and the people who get really, really good at it, like yourself, you know, you get to a certain point, and you didn't start there.
No.
You didn't start there at all. I didn't start where I was. You know what I mean? It's just you start at a certain point, and it helps you figure out some things. I mean, I did a lot of thinking on those courses too, man. You're running, and you're like, okay, your mind just starts wandering around, and, you know, it helps you put things in perspective. And it also helps you figure out what's important, you know, in life. It's not sitting behind a desk all the time. It's not sitting here watching TV. It's not. I mean, we wouldn't have these stories, man. We wouldn't be able to have we wouldn't be able to have a conversation.
You're pretty much living when you're out there. I mean, like it is a mental game. You're out there thinking about 1,000 different things, but you're not thinking about like work and this and that. You're just thinking about just getting through this whole thing.
How am I going to survive this?
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of where it's at. How am I going to get through this without killing myself and or somebody else, you know? And you know, you push through pain, you push through, you know, and I think there needs to be a lot more challenges like that. You know, it worries me a lot too because we see a lot of people that don't go outside anymore. I mean, I was thrown out of my house when I was, you know, a kid. Just get out, go play, come back, and you don't see that anymore out there. And I think that's part of, you know, getting out there and doing this stuff, I mean, it touched something in the nerves of people when they started doing these types of events, because I think people wanted to be, you want to tap back into your childhood. You want to tap back into that stuff you did when you were a kid. You want to go out and jump in the mud and get dirty. You want to do all these things. That's what CrossFit's about too. CrossFit's very big about, it's like, hey, somebody said, let's take a garage and do these workouts in it, but compete and make them competitive. And, it caught on. Why? Because people want to tap into that. There's people don't want to be sedentary. I don't think people generally do. I think we get stuck there. I think a lot of people get stuck there. And I've been there myself, but I think once you start finding other outlets, it helps you kind of move past that, and then once you start moving, like I said, I'll never stop moving now. I mean, I'm like, you know what? I keep going. I know Ron, you're always out there doing something. You're in CrossFit now too.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. You guys used to bust my chops.
I did.
Steve Gregg drank the Kool-Aid. He's all paleo and he's the, the CrossFit guy. But you know what? It's a great method of training, and that's how I look at it. And whether you're going to go into it as a competitor or you're going to go into it just for training, like I said, I got into CrossFit just to get better at OCR. Mm-hmm. That's why I got into it. But then I fell in love with that too. And then I'm like, okay. And then, you got the MMA, which I fell in love with that too. And you get to a point where you're like, okay, I can't do everything. So I have to kind of figure out, pick and choose what I'm going to do and where I'm going to compete. And, how long can I compete at a certain level depending on, and I don't think you could ever stop. I don't think you have to ever stop. Mm-hmm. I think age is just a number. But, I think we do. The difference isn't, can I still perform as well as the 20-something-year-olds? Yeah, I can, because I kick their butts a lot of times in CrossFit workouts and all kinds of other stuff. But the difference is it takes me longer to recover. That's the biggest difference. Biggest difference is I have to lay there for a while now. I shared the other day. I said, and you know what? You wake up and you have a certain amount of discomfort, but that goes away. Like I woke up this morning, I'm like, damn, what did I do to my leg? I don't even remember doing anything to it. And I'm like, oh, I remember what I did. And then I'm like, but then as you walk through the day, you some people would say, okay, I'm never doing that again. But you know what? As I go through my day, it doesn't even bother me now, I
loosened up. It's fine.
Yeah, it's sometimes you just got to go through that, and I think these things, these challenges that we put in front of us, physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually, they all help us improve who we are, and it's important, It's important.
Now, if you can just come up with an event where you can run and do double unders and snatches for time, and then at the very end, just get into a pit and just beat the hell out of somebody. Then you can.
They almost had that at one point, right?
I did.
Remember, what was that one military-based race? It was where you started with a workout.
Oh, the combine.
Combine, yeah. You started with a work, it was like a 6-minute AMRAP, right? You did a 6-minute AMRAP. I remember me and LaPlatney did it one year. And I only did one of them. But it was like, God, I wish I could remember the name of it.
CMC.
CMC, yes. You start with the 6-minute AMRAP where you're doing a whole lot of CrossFit stuff. And then you take a 2-minute break.
Right into an obstacle course.
And then they throw you into a 5-mile obstacle course, which was pretty cool. Now, if they just put a fighting pit at the end of that, you'd be all set.
It's kind of like...
You'd have all of it.
What was that? Stone Cold, he had that show.
Oh, yeah.
The Broken Skull.
Broken Skull Challenge.
They did a little bit of OCR stuff, and then they put 2 people into a pit. They didn't fight, just had to kind of
They just push each other out of
the circle. But
yeah, no, it's all cool, though, man. Like I said, it's not going to... The question I always ask people, but did you die?
Yeah, exactly.
But did you die? It hurt? Yeah. Didn't feel good all the time? No. We have to get used to feeling some discomfort in life, I think. There's... Nobody goes through life completely comfortable. If you do, you're doing it completely wrong. And you're probably not taking any risks and not growing. You have to grow. And if you take chances, not to the extreme, but if you take chances and you go out there and you push yourself through the pain, you grow from that. It's really important, I think.
So speaking of did you die, do you remember the
what did that bring up?
Yeah. I just thought about, I was thinking about it. Do you remember finishing Vermont, right?
Yes, I did die there.
Okay.
By the way. Okay.
Everybody dies a little bit on that day.
I lost pieces of my soul on that mountain.
But I'm not talking about Saturday, the pure exhaustion where you're just oh my God, I can't move. I'm talking about Sunday. The day after, just doing the beast, your first ever time in Vermont.
Oh.
I remember waking up Sunday, just
I was awful, man.
I don't know if I can get out of bed, ever.
Yeah. No, I don't think I was able to walk for a couple of days really well. I remember the end of my first beast at Vermont. Mm-hmm. And that's when it was still the World Championship. So it was actually extra.
Oh, yeah.
It was extra.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't, I mean, it's
13 miles.
Yeah, bullshit. That race was 16 miles, every bit of 16 miles every single time. You know, and that's one of the funny things about Spartan Race. I don't know if it's changed a lot, but, you know, it used to be where you would go into a race and they'd say, yeah, beast is about 13 miles.
About.
But they never really said it was, right? And they always kind of said, yeah, you know. And the trick to that was, and I think I figured it out, is they don't include the obstacles. So if you have a carry that's a half a mile, that's not included in the distance.
Exactly. Yeah. At first it wasn't. I think now they actually put that in as part of the distance wise, but they used to just lop it out.
So I used to always look at my watch, and I'm like, they said 13.2 miles or something like that. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, how the hell did I do 18 miles? I was like, it's telling me I did 18 miles. But yeah, man, I remember after that first race, you know, the funny thing is, and I can't remember what year. I think it was 14. Might have been 13 that I did that race. No, it was 13 that I did that race for the first time. And like I said, it was still the World Championship. So it was cool, actually, the first time going there.
Because all the world coming
all
in there.
over the world. And I remember getting to the town. They weren't set up at all.
Oh, that town had
no clue what was coming. No clue.
So bad.
Because, I mean, all of a sudden, the middle of summer, which is not their on season, everything, and we were wondering, because when I remember booking the hotel, and it was like, yeah, $110 a night, whatever. I'm like, okay, that's really cheap. And we got a nice,
beautiful
suite, right?
And literally, it was like a mile from the venue.
Not even. We were on the venue. We were there. We were basically, you know how you cross that road, you know, from the mountain where it used to start. I don't know. It starts different places now, but it used to start at the bottom.
Yes.
On K2, I think it was, right?
Something like that.
K something. They're all K whatever. But it started right across from the lodge, right? And we stayed at this little log cabin place hotel there. That's really nice, right? But we got there, and I think they were very confused even when we booked the room. Where I'm like, "What the hell's going on?"
They're like, "Why are we sold out on a weird
on like a weird weekend in September, where it's not near really our season don't even start for 4 months, you know?"
Exactly. Yeah.
And they're like, "What the hell's going on?" And I remember getting there, and it was like, you know, all of a sudden you see all these people showing up, and you see town like there was nowhere to eat. There was like,
well, they ran out of food. A lot of the restaurants, like they brought people in. They're like, oh, there's going to be this little event coming in, you know, and they brought on like a chef and like 2 waitresses and a
all
hostess.
Of a sudden there's 10,000 people in their town.
Yeah, and like you get the menu and they're like, oh, can I get the wings? We don't have those. All right, cool. Let me get a burger. Yeah, we don't. We just sent the chef out to Costco. All right, so I'm not going to get that
That's
either.
14 miles away.
Yeah, because you had to go from
40 miles away, probably.
You got to go from Killington to I forget where. Like
there's that little town there, that little that's kind of normal, I guess. Yeah. You know, but it's like we go there and eat every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then like even like they didn't even know what like Under Armour was, which was weird. I thought for me, it's a ski town. You should know what Under Armour is because everybody's kind of like gearing up.
None of the ski shops were open. Everything was closed.
And then like you'd ask you like, where do you go? And then like you go to like Dick's Sporting Goods and there's like 10,000 people at Dick's Sporting Goods because they're all trying to buy whatever like tights and socks and backpacks and nutrition.
They didn't know what was going on. That town was just like hit by storm. They learned the next year. They figured it out quick. But that I remember they were like, well, we don't really know what to do, but we know that next door they're going to be doing a buffet.
Oh yeah.
So we went over to this buffet and. You know, by the time we got there, it was like there's people everywhere. Joe DeCino was somewhere running around doing something. I think he was doing like a founders dinner there or something. And there was all kinds of chaos going on over there at the other place. So we were like, by the time we get food. So we ended up taking a ride, and we found that little 7-Eleven or that little, you know what, if you go down that road, there's that like little, it's like a little 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting food in there, man. It was like, and bringing it back. But it was my birthday now, because my birthday is September 23rd. So I actually raced on my birthday.
Oh, nice!
my first Spartan Beast World Championship race on my birthday, and I remember my niece made me a cake with like little Spartan pugil sticks and stuff on all kinds of. It was really nice. But I remember after the race, I had to literally get walked up to because you got to go back. Now you finish the race, but my hotel was up. and away from where the finish line was. So I'm limping and getting I think Nicole was helping me, and my niece was helping me get up the damn hills to get back. I mean, I was so beat up, man. It was like my ankles weren't working. Nothing was working. Nothing was working. You know, after I got all through all those other hills, now it's like this one more hill to the hotel seemed like, you know, it's kind of like when you get done with a CrossFit workout, the hardest part of that is signing your name.
Oh, yeah.
on the sheet. That's kind of what this felt like. It was like, you know, and then the next day I was like, I remember waking up destroyed. Oh, yeah, like completely destroyed. And I was like, what the hell did I do to myself? And, you know.
It doesn't matter if you slept for 4 hours or 14 hours. You woke up tired.
It made it worse. You're like, I'm not doing anything today.
Yeah.
I'm driving home. And it's like, I'm not even driving.
Which is horrible. Horrible, because it's like a 6-hour drive. Yeah. And then by the time you get ready to come out, you're like, you really like swing your leg out and you're like, I don't know what else to do right now. Like,
yeah. Well, then you sit in the car for 6 hours. Yeah. So then you're like, I don't think my legs are going to work. I don't think I could use them anymore. So then, you know, you get walked into your house and then you just sit there and watch Netflix for the rest of the day or whatever. But, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But, you know, it's a whole lot of fun. And it's been a huge part of my life, a huge part of yours. And,
absolutely.
You know, it's brought a lot of us together, made a lot of good friends over it, and watched a lot of people make a lot of awesome changes in life. And, you know, and like I said, hell, man, it's been an hour and 5 minutes. You believe that?
That's crazy.
Holy crap. See, it goes quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
It goes really quick. So we're going to wrap it up, I guess. Is there anything you want to plug, anything you want to put out there? You have anything, or you just want to?
No,
you're
I'm
good.
all good.
Dog's trying to get in here. But anyway, man. All right, well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. You know, and just remember, everybody, please subscribe to... Oh, the dog's making all kinds of noise up there. Hey, cut it out. So just remember to subscribe to the podcast, guys. Thanks a lot. Steve D, XtremeLyfe.com, here with Ron Zastocki. Thank you so much for coming in today and hanging out with me. And, you know, hey, we'll be out there again. You know, I'm probably going to come out and do Citibank Park this year.
Sounds good.
All right.
A couple weeks.
Yeah, it's not that far, man. All right, man. Well, thank you. Have a great day.